Hey guys, how's everyone doing out there today? Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 4 of Chase Chats. Most importantly, thank you to Socialive for hooking us up with this awesome system. Pretty much can stream anywhere and everywhere through one screen. Right now we are multicast on Twitter and Facebook, which is really cool. It's super easy to use. I'll tag a link after this broadcast for them. But let's get to the guests. All the way from Philadelphia, I believe, is Zach and Julie Ertz. They're going to come in the room right now. What's up, guys?
What's up?
How you doing?
How are we going?
We're going well, man. You know, just in Philadelphia, enjoying our time together.
How is quarantine been for you guys? Because I know we were chatting a little bit about it earlier, and it's a difficult time. A little bit. It's just weird doing the same thing over and over and over.
It's repetitive, that's for sure. But I mean, for us, it's kind of like the silver lining that we get to be together all the time. I mean, you know this firsthand, like I'm barely home. So it's been kind of like a nice change of pace. Everything was going really smoothly until I got a TikTok for us. That started some feuds. But other than that, it's been great.
I heard and I saw the TikToks that you were doing, and I know Zach pretty well. And for everyone who's watching that doesn't know Zach, he is pretty shy about putting stuff on the internet, especially TikTok. So how did she talk you into it? Because what you guys are doing, especially, and talk a little bit about the Minute to Win It too, Zach.
Yeah, so so Julie, I mean, it was day 3 of quarantine, and we were looking for things to do, and she was like, "Oh, let's get a TikTok. You know, everyone's doing it." And the actual videos is not what upsets me. It's literally the constant kind of the same video over and over, the Rolodex of videos that are just on repeat. So that is more the issue than the actual TikTok. The Minute to Win It, we were at our buddies before this whole quarantine started, and we were literally watching Netflix Minute to Win It. And so we started reenacting them in Arizona at his house, a couple of them. We kind of just carried it over to here in Philadelphia.
That's amazing. So first of all, we're going to talk about that some more, but I know how competitive you guys are because both of you guys are world-class athletes. So my question to Julie is, do you guys have a running tab? Because I know you were competitive. I know it's probably on like a grease board up there next to your, kitchen counter, but who's in the lead right now with the Minute to Win It?
Zach's in the lead right now, but I know that you're calling us out on being competitive, but I played with you and Hillary. And the first time when we were in San Diego and we stayed with you guys, we haven't even met each other yet. And I was like, all right, we're going to stay with this couple we don't even know for like a few weeks in off season.
Yep.
And literally the first night when we played Monopoly Deal, you guys were like going at it, like of who can do what card, because you guys kept playing like stealing cards. And I literally was like, this is my favorite couple. Like this is a couple that like we get, because I was so nervous that I was going to be the one that like was like, and they'd be like, wow, you cannot play with her. Like she's too competitive. So like, I just had to put that back out there because like you're calling us out, but like we know that you guys are on the exact same level.
You're so right. And a little bit of background is, I think the 2016 off season, Zach and I were training out here in San Diego, and obviously Julie was along and I was with my wife, and we decided, hey, let's split the cost and live together. And so we had this like amazing condo, right? Like, and when I say it's like right on the beach, it was right on the beach. I don't know if we stepped foot on the beach at all. We literally just like pull up the window and played Monopoly Deal, and I can get really competitive, as can my wife. But that was like one of the coolest memories I have with you guys.
Yeah, it was so fun. I was so sad when I had to leave. I would think I left to camp for that. That might have been around the Olympic time. Maybe. Yeah.
So that was really cool. That's one of my like favorite stories with you guys, just like playing all summer long. But like so everyone's quarantined right now. People are like wanting content, like wanting to know like what you guys are doing. Like what is your daily routine? Because I know as athletes, at least for me, like I have to have a routine. And that's all we know as athletes is a routine. You have to be at this meeting at this time. You have to be at lunch. You have to do this. Our whole lives are scheduled. So from the outside looking in, it's a little bit weird because you're like, oh, well, how can I stay busy? How can I do this? That's sort of why I started Chase Chats. But like, what is like your daily routine now that you guys have gotten into it?
I mean, it's honestly pretty similar to a normal day, except for the fact that you just don't leave your house. So we wake up, we have breakfast, have some coffee, wait a little bit, do our workouts or trainings in the house, whether it be a video off YouTube, whether it be yoga off YouTube, or like on a balcony or something. And then eat lunch, and then either read, or Julie's studying Spanish right now. She's trying to become more fluent in Spanish off Babbel. Shout out to Babbel, make it easy.
I love it. That's amazing.
Yeah, dude. It's pretty much just the same thing over and over. We now have a quarantine routine.
Yeah.
No, it's true.
Yeah, we had to like definitely make it like I was kind of like wasting. Oh my gosh, it's pouring rain all of a sudden. Sorry, distracted.
It's raining out here too.
Yeah, squirrel. But like, yeah, like the first few days, it was like I was like, I'm just wasting so much time of like what I could be doing. And once we like came like I like came across, you know, when you're like, this is what happens on social media. Sometimes it's good because you come across like a really good quote. I read something and I like showed Zach and I was like, oh my gosh, like totally true. It like totally changed my life. And we woke up the next day. I was like, okay, I signed up for Babbel. I like was like, all right, I'm going to start. I wanted to learn Spanish. And so I'm like starting that now. We read like every day. What else do we do? We play games. We have our 1 hour of Call of Duty and then go back to like cook, like, and then do the same thing. Like, it's like the same rotation, but yeah, it's so true. Like how important routine is, but it's so funny. Like I got out of it because I'd like get my workouts done. So I felt good. And then I would just be on like TikTok and social media, like all the time.
Yes, I know you go down this rabbit hole of social media and it's tough. Well, I want to go back to the Spanish. So have you taken, that's so cool. Like, have you taken Spanish before, or is this like all of a sudden you just said, I want to learn Spanish and you started taking it?
Yeah, well, I probably should be taking my online last class so I can actually say I graduated college. So that's probably what I should probably do this week. My parents and Zach keep asking me, but then I switched to Spanish. But I took Spanish for 5 years, and then my sister just actually got married in February. Sorry, I should know this. Just got married in February, and so her husband speaks Spanish. So like, I just want to be able to like, I don't know, like I want to be able to speak Spanish, and my sister's learning it as well. So like, I don't want to not be able to speak to my family as well. So yeah, and so his family speaks Spanish, and they're part of my family now too. So I just want to be like,
wow, that's amazing. Now I feel like I need to go learn Spanish because that's like really cool. Like I'm just like on social media working out and doing Chase Chats. Like I feel like I need to learn another language. No, so Zach, I've had a lot of like feedback on Twitter, Facebook, so forth and so on. You talked about your workouts. How hard and how difficult is it to, you know, I mean, you're 6'5", 250 professional athlete. Like, do you have dumbbells in your place? Like, what are you doing to work out? Like, what are some of your workouts? Is it all body weight or?
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
A lot of like body weight stuff, but we have a lot of like mini bands or like kind of, I don't even know, a lot of bands essentially, just to kind of increase the resistance and just try and find a way. I mean, I feel like everyone's kind of in the same boat that we're all just trying to find a way and make do with what we have. Obviously, in a normal off season, you'd have all the access to all the equipment you need. But you know, the great ones adjust, as they say. So we just got to find a way to get it done.
Well, and that sort of leads me into my next thing is I do want to talk like a little bit of football because and mainly out of all your stats, all your cool things that I've seen you do, Super Bowl champion, you know, Zach, if you didn't know what you probably do, Zach caught the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl. But what's really cool for me is to see you, was it in 2018, right? NFL record for tight ends, 116 catches. Yeah. 116. So if anyone doesn't know, like I play quarterback, obviously Zach plays tight end. 116 catches, regardless of position, is just like out of this world. So like, what was clicking that year? Because just talk me through that year. It just seemed like every game it was like 10 catches or like 8, 9, 10 catches.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of factors happened, obviously. Some out of my control, some in my control. But I think Carson and I were just on the same page. We've had a really good relationship since he came into the NFL. So just all that work we were putting on the side kind of really I feel like came true that year. came to fruition that year. Obviously, we had a lot of talent on offense that year, so a lot of guys were getting a lot of attention as well. So I was able to just kind of solely focus on the guy right in front of me that year instead of multiple defenders or whatever it may be. But the coaches did a great job. I'm not going to say here that it was my doing of that record. I feel like it's a team sport, but it's definitely something that is special.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. And Julie, not to be outdone, I mean, 2-time World Cup champ in 2015 and 2019. I'm not gonna lie, I know you guys pretty well. I went on to Wikipedia and I just did a little quick Wikipedia search of Julie Ertz, and it was just like down the list. I mean, it just like tons and tons of stuff. But what I thought was the coolest thing was, obviously the World Cup. I mean, the World Cup, FIFA World Cup. Can you talk a little bit about your experience? I mean, it was 2015, and now you're still playing, you're still rolling, still probably one of the best in the world.
You want me to talk about the 2019 one?
Yeah.
It was an awesome experience. I think for me, also having Zach there, to be able to have them there for most of that. The only game that he missed was the first game, but I think you flew out 2 days later. Was incredible. I think, when I was in 2015, I was so young that I was like, oh, this is awesome. You win a World Cup your first time. You kind of just not that the expectation is not that you want to get there, and it was a really hard tournament, but I think I just took it for granted. I went in there and I loved playing and I enjoyed it for sure. But I just don't think I really took in every second. So this past World Cup, I don't know, from 2016 was a really hard loss into the Olympics for me. And I was really depressed after that, was really sad, got benched. It was just a total different time in my life to, probably the biggest adversity I had, at least in my career at that point, of kind of where I was or what kind of player that I was going to be. So this 2019 and having Zach there to just kind of really make sure that I enjoyed every second of it. Even if it wasn't game day, I was, made sure that everything I did was to prepare to the best that I could, in a different way than 2015. I don't want to say I didn't prepare in 2015, I did, but in 2019, I think just being older and having a different perspective, I was able to be there and talk with Zach and face-to-face having him there because we were in a different country. So if Zach was still obviously in the States, talking would have been really hard because texting and time difference isn't easy, even when I'm on the West Coast to East Coast. So let alone being further away. It was awesome. It was really cool to see him there. Every picture I have of when I'm singing the anthem, I can see Zach. They would always have him sit right behind the flag. It seemed for most of the games. So it was pretty emotional for me just because it was something I could finally really share because none of my family or Zach really is able to go to any of my games, considering I'm in Chicago or we travel. So both my parents were there. We had a bunch of friends and family come through, but my family and Zach were there the whole time. And that's
amazing. And I know you guys are followers of Christ, and, talk a little bit about Julie specifically first, because you said, when you got benched in the Olympics and how sort of depressed you were. I know not only you leaned on Christ, but you leaned on your husband as well. How has that helped you throughout some of these desperate times and some of these adversity-filled times of yours?
Yeah, I think that was a huge growth period for me. I think obviously when things are going great, it's easy to praise, but also having Zach there kind of holding me accountable. I had extra time to be able to kind of reinvent my mind in a way of how I was going to take it in my perspective. And I think Zach holding me accountable to make sure that I stayed in the word and kind of really looked at it from a different light was really important for me at that time, because it's easy to shut off and, try to cut off all the light. Just especially for athletes where, it's hard to be an athlete and not attach so much identity to your sport. And I think I don't have that down. Sometimes I do. Still, because it's just, I've done this since I was 3 years old. So for me, that is a huge part of me, but it's not just me. And that's important to remember as well. So, and even just that, everything outside of that, it was kind of one of those things that, what's that saying? When when it rains, it pours kind of thing at that time. And I felt like I was drowning, but having Zach there and being able to have our pastors there supporting me and just having someone to have an honest conversation with about it Crystal was one of my best friends on my team as well, who completely understands obviously the national team and just everything that goes about being a professional athlete. That I had people that I could genuinely be honest with, and some of the harshest honesty that's even hard to say out loud. And having somebody reciprocate and understand that, but then be like, okay, well, this is your answer. Like, you need to dive more in the word. You need to do this, was like a massive changing point, and not just my career, but like in my life.
Yeah, no question. And listen, it's not easy to talk about faith sometimes. And I know you guys are pretty private, so I appreciate you doing that. But Zach, on to you, like what Julie was saying, like she brought up the accountability partner of sorts, whether it was Crystal or whether it was you. Talk a little bit about the 2016 season, because when I was with you guys in Philly, I was only there for 1 year, but we had a pretty like amazing thing going where the Bible study, right? Like we had Bible study at our house and you guys were constantly over there. And it's just like the brothers in Christ that you and I are today, I think really tracks back to that 2016 season and what we were able to accomplish there, not only, on the field, but more importantly as brothers in Christ.
I mean, as you know, my faith journey was really started in that 2015, 2016, more so that 2016 season. And having guys like you, Trey Burton, Jordan Matthews, Karst, Hicksey, Maragos, having all those guys together really not by you guys like telling me what to do, but just seeing you guys walk every day with the Lord really kind of started opening the door for me to kind of dedicate my life to Christ. And so that year, 2016, we had couples Bible studies on Mondays. We had team Bible studies on Thursday. And then my favorite one was the Saturday night fellowship. The night before the game, after the team meeting, all of us would just go into the room and kind of just see how everyone was doing, kind of what stuff, like all the things guys were battling and kind of all the pressures that they were going through during the week. I mean, that Saturday night was honestly one of my favorite parts about that year of 2016.
Yeah, we would just get together and openly share, right? Like it would be late at night, past the meetings, before curfew, and there'd be, a group of 6 or 7 of us, and we would just have real conversations. And that's what I think is still to this day, like one of the coolest things and times when I was with you that I can remember. And I appreciate you guys sharing a little bit of your faith. Also, I did want to hit on, you guys just started a foundation as well, right? So tell me a little bit about that and why you decided to finally start one, because it's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
Yes, so thank you first. 2017, that off season, I went down to Haiti with Carson, and we went down there. We stayed at this Mission of Hope, which is essentially a foundation in Haiti, and it's a foundation backed by Christ. And just seeing all the work they were doing, as well as kind of teaching the gospel to the people of Haiti, was really eye-opening about what could be accomplished with the foundation backed by Christ. So I called Julie when we got back from Haiti, and I was like, hey, I think it's time for us to start a foundation. And, it was important for us. It wasn't going to be the Zach Ertz Foundation. It wasn't going to be the Julie Ertz Foundation. Like everything we do in life, we wanted to do it together. So it's the Ertz Family Foundation, backed by Christ, obviously, with the pillars being sports, education, and kind of family helping per se. And so during this time, obviously, foundations are huge in the world and trying to help our communities and our countries right now deal with this COVID-19 outbreak. So we partnered with our local food bank here in Philadelphia called Phil Abundance, had a big donation with them. So we're just trying to do what we can. I feel like we're called to be lights in our communities, and that's what we're doing.
That's amazing, guys. Thank you so much for not only coming on the show, but also for being such great friends and such great role models, because I know there are so many people that look up to not only what you do on the field, but what you do off the field in your faith as well. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming on, and we will catch up later.
Yeah,
Awesome,
thanks for having us, Chase.
Yeah, you're crushing it.